Hey, everybody, it is another Thursday edition of Everything Phoenix, our YouTube live channel, and we are live getting ready to talk about the Super Bowl parties, the big games coming. And if you are in town, which you should be, if you can get a ticket or a plane ticket, that is, then let's get started with some Super Bowl party information and information about other things going on in Phoenix around the same time. All right, guys, if you could, we're going to talk about market updates too. We have some cool data to show you, as always. You guys know that's the deal, right? But today we're headlining it with something a little different, which is the Super Bowl parties that are going to be in attendance and all the festivities that occur around this Super Bowl. Okay, because it brings in millions and millions of dollars for our local economy. Every year or wherever it's at every single year, and we're really excited about the big game. So without further ado, if you wouldn't mind, please comment if you're listening. Comment just below, or comment live if you're going to watch this live here. And let's have a two-way conversation, right, about what's happening in our marketplace today, right? And then, of course, let me know where you're from if you don't mind. That'd be great. Always love trying to figure out where people are listening from. All right, guys, I'm going to share my screen as I always do, and we're going to jump in with a couple topics. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to talk about the Super Bowl parties. We'll just start off right away with getting after that. All right, so here we go. So there's some major parties, as you can imagine, that are happening around Super Bowl weekend, and we're going to start off by talking about the biggest ones. All right, so the day of the Super Bowl, on the 12th of February, we have the Pepsi party, right? And then you have Rolling Stone party, and you have all kinds of parties, right? But the Pepsi party is the big one. It's downtown Phoenix, and you're going to have all kinds of stuff, popular DJs, and you can imagine the music, the dancing, and all the things, the football stuff little kids can do, whatever, right? All the things that come along with the Super Bowl party. And admission to the Super Bowl event is open exclusively to Arizona residents ages 21 or older. Okay, so I guess this one, sorry, not for the kids, but there's one down below that is. So it should be a good time, right? Then you have the BetMGM West Fest in Glendale, right? They are making history, he says, because they're the first live sports book on the Big Games Stadium campus, guys, because in Glendale, if you guys don't know, the stadium is located in Glendale, where the Phoenix Cardinals or Arizona Cardinals play. Geez. And that's where the game is, right? So it's going to be out in the Glendale area, which is the northwest area of the valley, okay? And you have that party that's going on the 12th, right? So if I pause for a second, not to confuse anyone here, but this is the big lineup of some of the big Super Bowl parties. Okay, you have Shaq's Funhouse on the 10th. You have the ESPN Next party on the 10th. Then on the 11th, you have Maxim. You have Gronk's Beach Party, which is going to be awesome, right? I mean, it's Gronk, right? It's going to be awesome. And then you have Sports Illustrated. And then the day of the game, the pregame party, right? So let me hop back over here and finish talking about this. The Rolling Stone is live in Scottsdale. Okay, as they always are, and that's going to be down in Old Town, and they're going to have all kinds of fun stuff going on there. Travis Scott, Ludacris, Big Sean, Steven Tyler, and the list goes on. T-Pain making a entrance. How about that? Scottsdale event is also represents a revival collaboration between the Rolling Stones and the sports marketing agency Talent Resources. That should be a good one. And then the Super Bowl watch party, right, is at Hance Park. Okay, now this is interesting, right? It's the watch party. So it's at a park downtown Phoenix, which is over the tunnel, which is really cool. So I think I got a map here for you right here. So right here, this little green where the red pin is the park. And if you zoom in, you can see it's right over the I-10, right? The yellow I-10 disappears under the bridge there, right? So the park, it's a really cool park, guys. If you have not been there, just north of Roosevelt Row, it's Hance Park. It's right there, and it's a very cool park in downtown Phoenix. So they're having a watch party at Hance Park. So if you have a chance, go down and check it out. It opens at 11 a.m. on the 12th. They're going to have a DJ there. And, of course, the game kicks off at 4:30 p.m. local time. Okay, so you have that experience and some fun stuff. And then, of course, we talked about the other parties that we can also, obviously dive in deeper on. Shaquille O'Neal, rapper Snoop Deal, Double G is going to be in the house. And, of course, guys, no one even talks about the fact that the Phoenix Open, the Waste Management Phoenix Open, the People's Open, the greatest show on grass, is going to be taking place at the same time. Guys, this is crazy. Now, I remember last time, I think it was 2015, that it was both. And guys, it was nuts. So if you're looking for just a good vibe, right, with a lot of people, right, that's the downside, right? A lot of people, a lot of cars. But if you're looking for a good vibe for a week or a weekend, it's hard to beat Phoenix, Arizona, when you have the PGA's most fun event all year long, combined with the Super Bowl, right? I mean, it's like wow. So overload, right? So that being said, it's a good time. And then I'm not sure if you're aware, but the Phoenix Open has a something called the Bird's Nest, right? So you have the golf tournament, right, which is a spectacle in and of itself because you have people that are walking around having a good time, and there just happens to be a golf tournament taking place at the same time. But at night, on Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night, they had this huge tent on premises, just a little bit off the golf course, where they have big line headline people names come in and actually perform. And so we're going to show a picture of that here in a second. But also the weekend before the Super Bowl and the Phoenix Open, they have a concert at the 16th green. It's known as the Coliseum. It's the only par three in all of PGA that has a fully enclosed stadium. Therefore, the Coliseum. And I believe this year it's going to be Maroon 5, and someone else is opening in front of him. Walker Hayes, I believe, is opening for him. And then, of course, Maroon 5 comes on later, and it's going to be outdoor, amazing weather. It's going to be a good time if you can get a ticket to that event. And I mean, who goes to a concert at a golf course, right? That's interesting. So just that's worth the price of admission right there to see a golf course outside, or excuse me, a concert outside on a golf course. Abby, how you doing? She commented, "Absolute mayhem. I'm escaping town." Some people will, right? That's you have two choices, right? Stay and have and embrace it, or get out, right? So that's funny. All right, I'm going to share my screen here, guys. Let's hop back over to. Let's talk about Gronk for a second before we get into market data, right? Because the market's doing some interesting stuff. We're going to talk about that in a second, right? But let's talk about Super Bowl still, right? This is fun. This only happens once every, in Arizona, once every 7, 8, maybe 10 years. So Gronk plans a Scottsdale beach party. And guys, just so you know, we're in Arizona, in Phoenix. We don't have beaches, but Gronk is going to make one somehow, some way, right, for Super Bowl weekend. And I assume that's probably Gronk. Someone up there is Gronk with his shirt off as always. That's the picture from this Gronk party in Vegas last year, where I assume the Super Bowl was, right, if I remember correctly. And he's going to have a good party. What I love about it is he says it's going to be at Talking Stick Resort in Scottsdale on February 11th, the day before. And I believe it says starts around 8:30 or 9. They have VIP tables. Everything you'd expect from a major party, right, is going to be there because that's how Gronk does. But he's quoted on here as what he say? He goes, "You may not see me playing in the big game this year, but there's one thing I'm not retiring from, and that's having a great time." That Gronkowski said in the statement. "You'll get what you expect from me and more at Gronk Beach." Okay. So I'm not sure what the ticket prices are. I'm not sure if it says in here from what I recall when reading it, but check it out online. You can find it at Talking Stick Resort on February 11th. That would be a good time, of course. And let's talk about while we're on football. Let's talk about really quick. The Cardinals owner, Michael Bidwell, sells his Paradise Valley home. So it sold within a month at 5.8 million, right? Or 5.3, but listed at 5.8, guys. I'm telling you, this is going to segue nicely here in a second to what the market's doing. It's a little interesting, right? But it listed for 5.8, sold for 5.3 in less than 1 month. And who knows why? Maybe someone just wanted to have it because it's Michael Bidwell's house. But I'm going to assume it's pretty nice. In fact, I've seen pictures. Honestly, it's really nice with some really good views, actually. So that's interesting. I thought, right? There's the little picture of it. You can see it online. And then let's hop over to the People's Open, right? We talked about it, how this is going to be overshadowed to an extent, but not really by the Super Bowl because this is a big event. The PGA Tour's most fun, most attended, largest event. In fact, there are no restrictions on attendance, guys. I think if I'm not mistaken, you're going to have somewhere, over 100,000 people attend this golf event, this golf tournament over the course of the weekend, right? So, and of course Thursday, Friday. So country music stars added for the lineup of the Bird's Nest concert series, guys. So here's what we got going on here in case you want to go check this out. You got Jason Aldean, Mackenzie Porter on Thursday the 9th. You have Machine Gun Kelly and JXDN on the 10th, and Chainsmokers with Griffin on the 11th, guys. Chainsmokers and Jason Aldean are already sold out. but there are some tickets, I guess, left for Machine Gun Kelly. $75 is the ticket price, and you have $240 for VIP, which includes, I believe, unlimited drinks and maybe food too. I believe it does include food. So, guys, this is amazing. So, dubbed the People's Open, the 2023 WM Phoenix Open will mark the tournament's 88th anniversary. But, guys, check this out. There's some good here too, right? In 2021, the tournament raised more than $3.8 million for charity, and it will look to add to that number in 2023 with the help of the big game, Super Bowl, right? So that's really cool. A lot of the Thunderbirds who put this on, their charity event, they do a really good job, obviously, of raising money for charity. So that is the part that we can't forget in this whole thing. But let me show you a picture really quick, right? I download this picture. This is the website for the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and it's just awesome. That is the bird's nest, guys. Yes, that is on the grounds of a golf course. We're right there, very close by the actual course itself, right? You can walk right to it. So that's pretty cool. And there's the stage, obviously, and then you got all those people out there. So having a good time. VIP right over here in the corner, right, where they get the food and drink and all that fun stuff. So check it out, guys. It's an absolute blast to go to a concert outdoors. Well, it's actually you're covered in a big, huge tent, but it feels like it's something kind of unique and more intimate, which is kind of cool. All right, a few more things. Let's talk about really fast. Okay. All right, some real estate stuff. Top 10 Phoenix area multifamily deals in 2022. What to expect in 2023, guys? This is interesting, right? So there were a lot of multifamily transactions that occurred in Phoenix in 2022. I'm sure that's not a shock to anybody, but the key I want you to take away from this is that multifamily obviously it's real estate, so it's going to follow some trends with residential real estate. And right here, multifamily building to accelerate in 2023. So the developers are doubling down on the fact that Phoenix is going to continue to explode and need housing. Okay. In fact, O'Neill says he's tracking projects totaling about 16,000 units on pace to be delivered in 2023, up from 13,000 units that were completed in 2022. Guys, 16,000 units. 16,000. It's a lot. The accelerating pace new construction likely will exceed renter demand in the short term, but will also help keep pace with the valley's long-term housing demand growth. Okay, so there's going to be some people sitting on some vacant properties potentially for a little while in the short term, but in the long term, it is going to be apparently they're betting on a really good investment. Monthly rental rates ended the year at $1,616, up 2% for the year, O'Neill said, right? So the average rental rate ended the year at $1,616 in multifamily. And that followed a year where rents were spiked by 27%. So still pretty good, healthy rental rates for the valley, right? Now he says, let's see, what else? Investors looking for discount on peak prices. Because guys, transaction count is down, right? I mean, right now I saw a stat that is very true that overall in the MLS, the rental real estate amount of transactions that occurred are down 50% month over month, right? 50%, right? That's a lot. But it's starting to turn the other way, guys. So that's the interesting thing that I'll show you some data on in just a second. I mean, don't take my advice for it, right? Take the data's advice, right? Even though I probably would know what I'm talking about, right? And I will steer you in the right direction. I promise I will. That's my commitment to you guys. So let me share my screen again. Let's hop into that, okay? Let's see here. Let's go to, all right. Boom, look at this, guys. Take a look. I'm gonna leave it on here and let it marinate for a second because, guys, check this out. All green. We haven't had all green. I'm fairly certain until at least, I want to say June of 2022. Okay, every single suburb, every single area of Phoenix, major suburb right here listed, all 17, are all green. They're all trending positive on the trend line for the CMI, right? And I'm sure you're asking what the CMI is. CMI, as you guys know, is the balanced market of 90 to 110 for their index. And we're going to talk about a few things here in a second, which is pretty cool. Okay. And remember, if it's below 90, it's a buyer's market. So you're looking at this and you're going, okay, there's still some buyer markets out there, Kelly. What are you talking about? True, there is. And there's some really good deals out there to be had too, as well, in certain markets, certain neighborhoods within certain markets. However, they're all trending in the right direction week over week. And last week, if you recall, if you tuned in, right, because you want to get the most up-to-date data, what did we see last week? Anybody remember? Maybe it's 2 weeks ago. We saw all green except for one suburb. Now we have all green. This just came out today, guys. Today's the 12th. You can see the date right here at the top, January 12th, just came out hot off the press for your viewing enjoyment. And then we have several, right? We have, let's see, over 110, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Over 110. So that is pretty good, guys. We have some sellers markets that are continuing to stay in that green space of over 110, which is a seller's market, right? So pretty crazy. T, how you doing? What's up, T? Wow, all green. Yeah, all green. Pretty crazy, right? I think it's really cool. And it's headed in the right direction. But let me give you some commentary, guys. Now, this commentary is going to be me reading it, obviously, but it's not from me. This is from people that are way smarter than I am that do this for a living every single day, multiple hours every single day, right? And crunch these number and data. This is going to be actually, I think some encouraging stuff here, right? So here we go. Don't worry about the blue because I want you guys to just go with me on a couple things, all right? All right, the average CMA, the average change, excuse me, in CMI over the past month is 22%, up from 21% last week. Okay, up 1%. All right, week over week. Paradise Valley, which has the highest price points in the valley, continues to improve for sellers at a rapid rate. Its supply index is down from 52 to 43 and demand up 57 to 73. So what's that mean? Demand is still weak in terms of below normal. However, supply is below normal too, which is causing the average price per square foot in PV to rise in the luxury space, right? Primarily right now, right? Also improving fast for sellers are Chandler, Mesa, Avondale, all up 39% or more from last month. Not 6 months ago, last month, guys. Interesting. They are leading the charge right here, right? About 20% we have Phoenix, Tempe, Glendale, and Peoria. Gilbert, Cave Creek, Queen Creek, Surprise, Fountain Hills, and Buckeye, all above 10%, the latter there. Scottsdale, Maricopa, and Goodyear below 10%, but all improving, unlike last week when Goodyear was still going backwards. That was the one suburb that was going backwards last week, right? Now, this is the paragraph I want you guys to read. Here we go. I'm going to highlight it in blue for you. I'm going to read it for you, okay? Remember that the CMI, the Cromford Market Index, is the earliest of leading indicators. Tune in, guys. This is interesting. It tends to go down before most people expect it to, and it tends to go back up before people think it should. It can be up to a month before the other market indicators follow suit. For example, last year it peaked on February 7th, guys, and started to weaken. Okay. Now, no. Hold on. I'm gonna focus on me for a second, right? Okay, guys. The height of the market for really the layman person that's just out there, trying to sell or buy a house, you could tell was in June sometime. We go back to certain graphs in terms of a lot of supply and demand, and you're looking at March 13th in terms of the numbers for like average price point. That was the height. Excuse me, May 13th. May 13th. Very important. Okay. What this is saying over here is that on February 7th, okay, it started to weaken. Now, it takes a while to turn, right? But it started to weaken. So that is interesting, right? So you're talking February to March, to April, April to May. 3 months before all the other market indicators started to show their signs. 3 months. So CMI tends to be on the forefront. So if you're getting data from this show, I will bring you this data on our show, Everything Phoenix, so you are fully informed to make the best decision. So I say all that to say, and let me put it back here myself. Typically, could the trend reverse and go backwards? It could, right? It could. No one knows for sure what will happen. But if you want to make informed decisions, you follow the data. You start there and follow the data. Okay. If they are sometimes a month to 3 months ahead of all the market indicators and the prognosticators out there that talk about this, if they are, and that's true, which a lot of times, most of the time they are, in terms of the trends and where things are going, then you make the argument that if you're looking to buy, you should probably think about doing it fairly soon because it may not get any worse in the short term. Now, who knows what will happen, come summertime here in Phoenix, right? Because that's always a wild card and things slow down. But maybe that's something you should think about because if it's true and it takes 2 to 3 months or whatever for everything to catch up while the trend line's going this way, then maybe, just maybe, it might be a little more challenging when everyone starts to jump in because now the media says, oh, it's going up. And so jump in if you want to buy, right? So think about that. If you have any questions, call your favorite Cook & Associates realtor. We'd love to help you guys walk through that. All right, let's go back here. Amongst the 17 largest cities, we see 6 in a buyer's market, okay, 4 a balance, and 7 in a seller's market, okay. Loan offers nationwide now report that new mortgage applications are rising in volume. This could have something to do with the fact that typical 30-year fixed mortgage rates have dropped by half a percentage point since the start of this year, January 1st, right? Now, here we go. The time may be soon to replace skepticism with hope. Despair is so 2022 and no longer fashionable. Guys, all right, let's go back one more day. There's some interesting stuff on January 11th here. It came out, okay? In another positive sign for the market, the contract ratio for all areas and types has risen from 33.5 on January 1 to 36.9 11 days later, okay? At this stage in the market cycle, we are just emerging from despair. All positive signs will be greeted with generous amounts of cynicism. Guys, people will tell you, what are you talking about? You're crazy. We recommend eliminating all emotions and focusing on the numbers. Data over drama, facts over fiction, okay? Here we go. For those willing to believe, just got to believe, right? The average price per square foot for active listings is up $329. This is the highest price per square foot since July 31st, guys. July 31st, and the market it's gone down since then, right? It's been a while. And it's usually a leading indicator of greater sales pricing strength. The low point for this particular measurement was $319, which is now on September 8th, which is now, again, $329 price per square foot. The trend since September has been upwards despite the opposite trend in closed listings price per square footage. These two trends cannot go in opposite directions over a very long period. Either active pricing will have to decline once again, or sales pricing will have to start recovering some of the ground it has lost over the past 8 months. The latter outcome looks slightly more likely unless mortgage rates rise significantly at the current levels. Do not expect average sales price per square foot to turn around immediately, however. The process is forming a bottom is usually a slow one, often taking several months while confidence of consumers rebuilds. So guys, we're at the precipice of this. We're trying to get you the data before anyone else that has it. And so you can be at the cutting edge of where it might go. And all indicators will tell you at this point right now that we might be looking at a market that is in the process of starting to change and go in the right direction. Or if you're a seller or homeowner in the right direction, right? If you're a buyer and don't own a house in Arizona, you probably want it to continue to decelerate and try to find the bottom. But for all those people out there that want to try to time the bottom or time the top, because you know who you are, by the way. This is here you go. There's the crystal ball. If you're making a calculated guess, you're not going to act on that guess that you're at the bottom now, or maybe we were just 10 to 20 days ago, and it's time to jump in. Okay. Now, but what if rates go up? That could change the whole thing. Yes, it could. Absolutely could. So let me show you this. Okay. Guess what came out today, guys? Anybody know? Anybody know? Comment. I know we have some people watching here. I can see. No one's taking a stab at this, right? CPI, the Consumer Price Index, tracks inflation. That came out today. Okay. And check the headline. This is today, 1 hour, 11 minutes ago. Lowest rates in 4 months after the inflation data came out. Okay. Today brought the scheduled monthly release of Consumer Price Index. Of all the monthly economic reports, this one has the biggest impact on the bond market and mortgage rates for roughly an entire year now. Okay. Inflation has been the biggest source of upward pressure on rates during what has been the fastest rate spike in 40 years that we just went through over the past 6 to 8 months. Even if it's merely heading back in the right direction, it's a big win for mortgage rates. That winning process is played out over the course of these 3 CPI reports, albeit with some and back and forth along the way. The average lender brought rates roughly 0.125% lower today versus yesterday. Okay. So here we go. Mortgage rates right here. Boom. Check it out. Green, all the way down. 30-year fixed now is at 6.07. The average across the board for a good borrower is now almost below 6. Almost. Okay. 15-year fixed loan at 5.25. Jumbo at 5.68, guys. Jumbo. Pretty crazy. You want to get a $1 million house and borrow a lot of it? There you go. 5.68. Not too shabby. Okay, and you see the ARM rates right there. You can see the graph, guys. Here it goes, right? It's been trending down since the high point on this graph right here is October 31st. Since then, little yo-yo, but they've been going down. Okay, so let's go back to CPI. Look what it's doing here, right? And you can see this is April. Look at March. Rates were really low. April rates were still pretty low, and then May, here we go. It got up to about 5% or so. We knew it was climbing, and then once we hit, June 1st here, end of May, boom, then it took off, right? So interesting. We said that July 31st, right? July 31st is what the Cromford report said was the listing price per square foot has never been higher since July 31st. Look at this graph, guys. What day is that? August 1st. These things all correlate. That's why if you track the data, you can make much more informed decisions. But now you can see the trend here since the 20th of December here that's starting to go down, right, with the CPI, the inflation, okay? So where it will go from here, who knows? As we talked about, we know that our government passed a large bill in December, right? $1.7 trillion. And so we don't know. Obviously, it doesn't all hit the economy at one time, so we don't know what that's going to do to inflation. But hopefully, a lot of that will kind of filter in slowly over time, and therefore inflation can stay under control. That's the idea, right? And therefore, if that happens, mortgage rates can stay under control. All right, question from Abby. Abby, what are your predictions for the February Fed meeting? Okay, good question. Now, my prediction was before the government passes $1.7 trillion that they were going to keep everything status quo. They were not going to raise the federal funds rate any amount of basis points. I did not think they would go down, but I really believe they would have kept it status quo. Now I'm a little up in the air on this, right? After this report today, I'm now more bullish on the fact they're going to still do that and keep it status quo, right? That's my best guess right now. Obviously, there's gonna be some more data that comes out prior to their meeting in February, unemployment rate data, things of that nature, jobs report. So that will all matter. But as of right now, I'm more bullish on the fact that rates will stay flat. And I think the market is too, because that's why the market is responding with what you see when mortgage rates start to go down. So that's all good news, guys. I appreciate those questions because I'm sure, guys, if you're thinking it, someone else who's watching or will watch this after the fact that it's live is thinking the same thing. So guys, this is interesting times that we're in. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool when you can see the precipice change right in front of your eyes, kind of. But if you go talk to the person outside of this YouTube live, they're gonna say you're crazy, right? What are you talking about? Look at this. I mean, the rates are high, and the market's been decelerating and depreciation and blah blah blah. And you're gonna say, well, I watched this YouTube live from this dude named Kelly on Everything Phoenix, and it was pretty informative. And I think we are on the precipice of change. You might want to go look at it or watch it, right? And I'd be really grateful if you did. Please send it out. Please like us. Please subscribe and get us out to more people that can be educated like you are. I do thank you very much for that. We got another question here. Nick, what's up, Nick? How you doing? When do you think the high season for rental properties will end and pricing will return to normal? Well, I guess it depends on what you consider normal is for rentals. I think that right now we've seen it curtail. In fact, I could probably pull you some data right now from Cromford report and see what it says about that because they know a lot more than I do. But I think that right now rental rates are going to stay pretty flat. I don't think they're going to continue to go down much, especially if inflation stays low, right? I just don't see it happening too much. But we can pull up a rental chart here. Let me share my screen here in a second, and let's see what we got here. And we'll look at this in real time together. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, here we go. All right, let me pull this. Let me hide this here and pull this up here, Nick. Here we go, guys. Rental rates. Bada boom, bada bing. Right here we go. Look at the red line. Oh, and guys, I did not pull this prior to our YouTube live, but I guessed right. Educated guess, right? Look at that red line. Flat line. Flat line for since what? This is right here. It's kind of flat line from here, which is September 2022 to here, January 2023. In fact, I guess if you were going to get really dive in on a micro level on this, you can see that it actually went down like we talked about, right? And then it got to December 22, and then here we are. It went up in January, right? December is a funky month, right? You have a lot of holidays and end of the year and so on and so forth. So sometimes that data is just slower just because everyone else is just not thinking about, real estate, right? because it's December. I get it, right? Ho ho ho, Merry Christmas and Santa Claus, right? But here we are, right? I think this is interesting, right? That now we're pretty much balanced. So based upon this and knowing our great weather, knowing all of our events that are happening in the Phoenix local area, like we just talked about with the Super Bowl, I just don't think they're going to go down much further. So I think you're in this conundrum to an extent, right? Of what do I do in terms of my living situation? Do I want to buy and jump in with a rate that's around 6% now? Or do I just keep renting and roll the dice on that, guys? And my thoughts on that from a general standpoint. Everyone's different. Everyone's situation is unique. Maybe for some reason, because you're here temporarily on a contract or whatever, right, for work, maybe you shouldn't buy. But at the end of the day, I think generally speaking, I'm a big fan of home ownership, and I think that there's still a lot of homeowners themselves, even with agents who are not educated, right? Like all of you guys are for watching the show, and maybe they're getting bad advice or no advice, which is equally just as bad. And so when a buyer comes along, wants to make an offer, and they only have one offer, they just give away the farm, right? They give away all those concessions and closing cost assistance because maybe they just don't know any better that we are now seeing a trend reversal right in front of our eyes. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see what happens next week. Tune in because we're going to stay on this because guys, what they say, like the trend is your friend, right? And they say like one time it could be a coincidence, two times I don't know what they say, right? But three times shame on me. I don't know, something like that, right? I totally butchered that, so don't use that analogy. But a trend is your friend, and right now we're seeing a trend. So will a trend remain? Is the question. That's the question. And next week, I think if we have 3 weeks in a row, the trend going upward or turning that way, I think we're definitely onto something, right? So it'll be interesting to see what happens next week. Stay tuned, and we will tell you and reveal that to you, along with some cool stuff about what's happening around the valley and other things as well with development projects, right? As you come to expect when you watch this show. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate everyone watching, tuning in, and commenting. I love the comments. I love the questions. And let us know if we can always help you. You can always reach us at 480-660-5974. Have a wonderful day, guys. Talk soon.